it's not so well readable, but it's like, these are the finest there. Meet the grannies. And what is these grannies doing? They're knitting. And the thing is, you know, imagine you're old, you're more or less isolated, sitting in your home. What should you do to get somehow involved? There's a guy, a designer, who set up a shop where all these old grannies who can knit very well. They knit designer stuff. So some designers design very special things. They do the knitting, they make a bit of a living, and it seems to work out quite well. There's a nice web shop about it, and I was thinking about, yes, and Jasko getting old and becoming grandparents. So what can they do if they get real old? They can start doing this special typesetting and typography on demand for, let's say, the next generation, kids, for instance, to make nice children books, other things like that. Try to keep this typesetting thing alive somehow. So maybe that's the kind of future that we start thinking of, the future tech user groups. They just collect all these old, really old, there's not one retiring in the corner there, just collect them and let them do all this. The craft that they still can somehow do, nobody else can do, and you can even make a nice living out of it, because I think these grannies are making a living out of it, because it's quite expensive stuff. You only need someone to organize it. So that's my introduction for this next generation talk that Frans will now give.
Okay. So what we've been doing, and maybe some of you have been doing also, is bring a book. I see you have one also with you that you enjoyed as a child, that you remember from your youth, and tell something about it. The girls also have brought one of their favorite books from when they were younger, and explain a little about what such a little book or big book from their youth makes. What makes that book so important that you remember it, like I have remembered it all my life, and they might even also remember those books all their life. And then we pass on these books, and maybe some of you also have memories and remember what makes a book from your youth so special that you, I don't take it with you in physical form with you like this. It's very cool. It is really worn out over the years, or maybe you don't even have it anymore, but you remember it strongly for some reason that is, I think, very different from the reasons why you remember some of the books that you like very much as a grown-up, as an adult, because it's very instructive, or because it is a literary masterpiece. This book is, for instance, not a literary masterpiece. It's just a comic book that I got when I was a very young boy, and it's really a silly story about. Today it would be very suspect, because it's about a Catholic young man who grows up. He does not get married. He wears dresses like as he becomes a Catholic priest, and all his life he is busy with very young boys. And today that would be really odd, but he was very successful, and even was made a saint later on. And what I found fascinating when I read the book very often, from front to end and back again, and from the beginning back to the end, and every variation there, is that it starts off with him as a baby. So you see a very young, a baby like everybody looks like that, and in the end he has died and he's a very old man. And from one drawing in the comic book to the next, you almost see no change. And it was always like a little magic trick that when you skip a page, you see, no, he's older again, and you can never find where that happened. So it was for me also like a visual trick where colors change, and you never actually understand how that happened. And So it's actually more a book that is in my memory than it's actually a physical book. And even if I leave the physical book behind, if somebody likes it, you can keep it and take it home with you or give it to your children. And it's in Dutch, so for some people who don't speak Dutch, it might even be more magic then. So I don't care if it doesn't come back, so you can pass this on here between you. And maybe you can explain something about the book that you brought.
Well, this story is about an elephant, and it's different from the other elephants because he isn't grey like the others, but he has a lot of colors. Maybe you can see it. And well, he wants to be the same as the other elephants, and so he wants to make himself himself grey. But at the end of the story, he realized that he doesn't want to be the same as the other elephants, so he changed his color back to this. And I just really like the message of the story to all the children, that you just can be yourself. And I really like the way it's written, so that's why I like the book.
And you?
This is about a frog. He has little stories. I like it because it's really simple. The pictures in it is just a few colors and a few birds. A few birds in the sky and sometimes the sun, and it's always funny stories. And I don't know, he has friends and he always wants something. He always want to do things who can't happen. Like here he wants to fly, but he's a frog because because the dog is can flying and he wants to. So he makes from his arms wings. Yes, wings. So he can fly, but he can't. So he always doing that in his stories, and I like that when I was young. And it's just
You're still young.
what?
You are still young.
Is that the text?
Pardon?
The text.
The text, yeah, there's a text in English also.
Yeah, text. Text is.
Wat zeg je?
Text is klein.
Yeah, it's also in the text. It is also a small story. So it is. She was herself smaller than now, then, and she explained to me before that it is the simplicity of the story, and I find it as an adult find it interesting that in this age where young women like her are sort of bombarded, or they like movies like the Iron Man who flies and there's explosions every other minute and it's spectacular, but still a small book where almost nothing happens, where the text doesn't say very much. It's still something that is touching the heart, that they bring along, that they. So I find that it's very interesting. You know what I mean? That it's so.
Imagination.
Yeah, and it can be very small things, where almost nothing happens. Dear.
Great.
There's another young woman who brought a book with her.
Yes, it's a more contemporary book.
Okay.
What she wants to say about it. I will translate. Okay, co chcesz powiedzieć? So maybe for introduction I will memory some book for my childhood. I didn't bring it, but I still have a copy. Title in translation will be Bigger, Biggest. It's for Polish author Broszkiewicz. It's about two childs which have big adventure, bigger adventure and biggest adventure. The biggest was in the universe with the contact with the other civilization. This was very exciting for me as a boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Chcesz coś powiedzieć? No to zaczynaj. Let's start. Po polsku.
What is it about?
Pogadaj.
Just ask a question.
O czym jest ta książka, o której chcesz opowiedzieć?
Ta książka jest o życiu mojego ulubionego idola i opowiada o jego sławie.
It's a biography of music idol of Natalia. It's about his life, his way to fame and his music. Dog?
No, this idol.
Kim jest ten idol?
Justin Bieber.
It's Justin Bieber, of course.
In that case, there are two fans of...
Two more fans.
So yeah?
Chcesz coś jeszcze powiedzieć o jego historii? It's the end. It's a short presentation.
Nie, no czekajcie, a dlaczego ta książka jest fajna? Czy jest coś fajnego w tej książce jako książce?
O. Dlaczego takie książki są lubisz?
Dlatego, że pisze o tym, o różnych prasach koncertowych,
Ale to jest o życiu, a o książce. Co w tej książce Ci się podoba?
zdjęcia.
There was a question, what is special in this book, why she likes it. She said that there are many photos and many information about a hero. More question? Ktoś jeszcze ma pytania może jakieś?
Tam jest tekst w tej książce?
Czy tam jest tekst, tam coś jest napisane, czy tylko są zdjęcia?
Jest tekst.
A to pokaż.
Jest.
Pokaż nam.
Pokaż.
Jest dużo tekstu.
Jest.
Zakładka personalizowana.
I to jest jedyna książka, którą ona chyba czyta. Z ciekawością naprawdę.
One more question there?
More question?
Możesz nam opowiedzieć troszeczkę, kto to jest ten Justin Bieber? Wiesz, ja już mam trochę lat i może niekoniecznie, akurat wiem, ale może nie wszyscy wiedzą, kto to jest Justin Bieber. Who is Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber jest piosenkarzem.
Co śpiewa?
Dlaczego jest tak?
Dlaczego jest taki?
Jest przystojny,
Tak, fajny jest.
Tak,
ale a jakiego rodzaju piosenki?
pop.
I think they are called believers, yeah? These girls are called believers.
Yes.
Yes.
Religious.
And the biggest problem is they all want to marry just so that basically it's one big competition there.
But it still doesn't turn off the friendship. It's some kind of paradox.
She should ask Martha because she 2 weeks ago she attended the concert of
In previous month there was a concert in Poland, but we can't afford to go. So it was a long way from Gdynia, and it was a problem to go.
Yeah.
And the najdroższa?
Most
Most expensive tickets are sold in a moment.
Wow.
There are about 1,050 zlotys and it's sold in few hours. Just when...
1,000?
Yes.
1,500.
Yes, it was the VIP tickets and it was sold in few hours by internet. And
But don't worry about that, because in the Netherlands he showed that 1 hour late, all the VIPs were left in the hall. So.
What were the cheapest tickets? How much did they cost?
I think that it's about 80 zlotys.
The problem is these tickets they get bought by people who then sell them.
Yeah.
The cheapest was really cheap, but the travel and staying here will be more expensive than just tickets.
You can attend many public conferences.
Yeah. But none of these men sing very well, I think.
Not enough to pay.
There are
singing and
many
dancing.
men who sing,
Oh, okay.
but none of them looks like
Oh,
this.
that's it, of course. Ah, yeah. Are there more questions?
Or one person.
I can tell stories about my books.
Okay.
Sure.
Actually, I don't remember books about... I haven't... One particular book I remember, it was the fairy tales by Brothers Grimm. The problem was with them that they were written in the old German script and they were in German. Fraktur.
German. Oh.
Fraktur, and I didn't know Fraktur, but I could read plain German, so to say, the normal script. And it was a time when I was being trained by my mother to do home tasks. And I had very little time to do this home task, to go and read my books. So I would sneak out in a very dark corner, because there was, we were living in an attic like flat, and there were sort of small komórka, small room cells where sort of, you know, things are dumped. So I would sneak it there in and get this little bit of light coming through the roof, and would immerse myself into into this Fraktur thing, and then try to pronounce the words, to guess which letters were which, so to say. And I'm mentioning the Grimm stories. They were not exactly very, they were quite nicely printed and nicely bound, but this was the content which I was interested in, not in the book itself, so to say, how it was printed. I'm mentioning it because I haven't grown up as a cruel man, as I think. But the stories, Grimm stories, are grim, so to say. So they are sort of full of blood and killing and, you know, fighting and and this is sort of, it doesn't fit into this today's way of trying to bring up children with sort of very nice and soft books where this blood doesn't flow and so on. And sort of it doesn't, you know, children don't perceive the contents like the adults do. So if we say that the books are not good for children, some books are not good for children, it probably doesn't really relate to how children perceive them.
Yes, in the Netherlands you have something similar with a lot of old children's songs. If you really look at what they sing, it's rather harsh, like punishing people and things like that. But it's in old language, so they don't see it that way.
Yeah. Yes. Children see it with different eyes, from different perspective, and they are fascinated by things which the adults don't see normally.
Yeah,
that's probably so. Designing good books for children, probably to design good books for children or write them for children, you have to have a lot of child in yourself. Probably that's my point, so to say. Okay, that was it.
Thank you. So I think what you say, if you have, if you make a book for children, and you have, you can lean on the child in yourself, you can use that. That it's also, it's like helps that you can free yourself from the conventions that you grow into when you're a grown-up. When you can, and it's almost like what you said about the literature, that we get used to certain things that are right because we've seen so many of them. But if you can sort of liberate yourself from that, you can get closer to the essential, to what's actually what is successful with a lot of people. If you can, what people also say when they're grown up, think out of the box. But first they have to create the box to then demonstrate how to get out of the box again. You could as well have not have the box at all, maybe. Does anyone else have a contribution about the books or?
But I haven't this book with me because this book is in my daughter's home in Aberdeen, and it is. I gave her this book when my granddaughter Claire was born. Yes. And this is the special book for me because I have many books like a child, and the one of them was special because it was not tales, not novels, but the book about nature. I think I was in the second or third class of primary school when my parents gave me this book, and maybe somebody remember, Głos Przyrody.
No pamiętam.
And this was two books, volumes, yeah, two volumes, and the first one it was jak przedwiośnie powiedzieć? Before, because in Poland is fall, spring, and summer, and the second one was autumn and winter and others, because I think there was the six
Seasons.
Yes.
6 seasons. We have in Poland 6 seasons.
Złota jesień is called Indian summer.
Indian summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course there was many informations inside, but for me in this moment, in that moment, it was important that there was many fascinating illustrations. One of them, there are separated pages in color with, jak to się mówi, takie plansze, no po prostu tam ptaki albo coś. With pictures of birds. On the page, birds of our fields. birds of our forests and fishes of our. But all the book was in black and white, and this illustration inside was very interesting for me, because I know this now. There was made in in graphic techniques, but it was wood cuts and nidiorit or
Copper plate.
And even drawings, but there was 3 lines, and there was the bird, and it was for me like a child. It was very exciting, and Jerzy said that he wrote your book in a little light. I wrote this book under the what is called
Under blanket.
Under blanket with
the
flag in my hand. Yes, and because I was reading this book to the age of 17 or 18, and each year it was the new book for me, because the other information are important for me. And after that, my children like this book, and now Claire is too little, but I think it will be interesting for her too. Thank you.
Oh, very important. Thank you very much.
I can say
my granddaughter don't need paper. She use tablet.
My granddaughter uses computer too, but she like the real paper books very
She uses tablet under.
Wait till she runs out of batteries.
She really likes. She is near 2.5 years, and she sit on the big chair and have a book, and card by card. Not reading, no. but she like the paper in her hands.
Like there's something magic in a book like
For
that.
3 years you should be able to.
No. It's strange that she don't disturb this.
Yeah. Judge also has a few
I
examples.
would like to tell shortly about 2 of many books from my childhood. One of them is really original. Both are humorous stories.
Yeah.
This is rhymed, this is not, and this is from my early childhood, 1957. So I was 7 years old when I got this book, and you can see that it's worn, and perhaps it was repaired when we didn't have good glue in our shop, so I used staples to prevent it from falling apart. I believe that my grandchildren will read this book when they will be.
What's the title?
Menageria Kapitana Ali. It's about adventures of a captain who transported animals to the ocean. I like very much humor. I still remember many phrases from this, and this is one of my treasures of my childhood. Moreover, I liked very much the illustration here. I will. You can observe it. And here is another book that I remember clearly from my childhood, but I don't remember how old I was. Perhaps 10 or maybe 12. It's by Stefan Temerson. Only when I was grown up, I learned that he was a famous, in another area, but still famous, printer, photographer, typographer. He had the printing office in London. He emigrated from Poland to London, and then he did a lot of avant-garde printings, and among others he wrote a few stories for children. One of them was The Adventures of Paddy Bottom, in Polish, Przygody Pędrka Wyrzutka. Nicely illustrated, and I still remember the illustration by Franciszka Temerson, his wife. And of course, again, I remember a lot of phrases from this book. Although now, when I wrote it again, I found it very philosophical at the same time. I found the second bottom in this book. It is a beautiful book, and there is English translation of it. I'm not sure. Perhaps it was first written in Polish and then translated to English. Both look very interesting for me. And this book, of course, is re-edition, but I liked this book so much that I decided to have the re-edition because the original evaporated. Fortunately, such initiatives appear that some books are printed again. So this is also to show that this book I would like to have. Both. So, of course, there are just 2 examples. There are many of such books of different kinds. These are just humorous, but there were these science fiction books that I loved a lot, and from my early childhood I remember such books. But not, of course, not everything was able to survive, all moving from flat to flat. And,
thank you. Hans, may I have a contribution there?
There's one important aspect that you mentioned is that, you know, there's a philosophical aspect in this book. I think there's a substantial amount of books that is actually written not only for the kids but also for the parents who read the books to the kids. And this is one example that I remember that my dad loved to read it to us. I didn't understand anything about it as a kid. Yeah? But the pictures are beautiful. It's written by a guy who was actually a graphical artist and he basically invented the story for his kids, so he made the thing long. And there's a whole series of these things. And it's actually typeset properly. It's nice and hyphenated. I think a lot of attention went into that. But I remember that my dad really loved to read it, even if as a kid you didn't. And I read it. I bought a new copy a couple of years ago, and I read it, and it's really funny. It's a lot of, let's say, deep thoughts in it. Yeah. And I understand why he loved to read it. Of course, as a kid, as long as there's pictures in there or whatever, it's okay. So I think kids' books, it's more about, it's a bit broader thing. There's one thing that they didn't take the book with me. I expected them to take it because that I want to show you, because that could be as well something that maybe in the long run techies or tech still have some kind of place in there if we manage to do it.
We just turned it off.
It just switched off.
No, I have to switch this one on too. Why did Fox wants to update?
Trzeba się rzucić.
Yeah, we have to find it I don't know if they are translated in Polish. I guess they are. Sorry, the internet is not really helping me. Yeah. Okay, this is, I think, translated from English. Now, they can probably confirm it. Always, I never give presents other than books. Yeah. So when I see a nice kid book, I just buy it because they give it to someone. Now, it's not easy to get a kid to read if the kid doesn't want to read, is it? If they are not, it can have several reasons. So at some point, I gave one of these books to one of my nieces, one of Martha's sisters, and her brother is not really a reader. He likes to read, scripts and things like that, comics and things like that. But at some point, he came at my desk and he said to me, "Can you also give me one of these books?" And so I gave him one of these, and this is because these books have something that is probably special to kids. If you look at it, all kinds of things like, different kind of renderings in the text. The books have smell, you can smell them. The books have 3D images in them. The books are complete exposure of all kinds of things that you basically, he would expect it to see on the tablet. But you can actually see them in books.
Let him smell the tablet.
Yeah. Oh, it smells like an old tablet. I'm not saying, to be honest, all books can really smell. Yeah, it's not like there's always so kids read this kind of stuff if they are attracted to it. So again, this is something, and there are several in the Netherlands. You can have this is a whole series of like this. So. But there are other books that they play a bit with the typography. Like what is the other one? Some kind of diary thing that I gave to one of them, and it's completely typeset in a very special way, and that attracts the kids because it looks different, because it looks special, and I think this is a kind of niche. So to come back to these old techies, yeah, when they're retired and they haven't made a living, they can group together and they could make very special and weird books, and maybe that's a new market that can touch you up. Metaphors, you can. Isn't the sky the limit if you start thinking that way? So that's something I think we should keep in mind. You're not stuck to. This book is pretty traditional in the sense that it looks, it's actually justified, properly typeset, whatever, but it doesn't have all that kind of stuff. So that's my part.
Thank you. Anyone else? Are you finished?
Maybe I have just a very short story.
Yes, please.
But I don't know if I didn't bring the book here, This is one of the books that apparently one cannot buy it anymore. Moja zabawna matematyka, if that means anything in Polish. My amusing, funny, entertaining math. I got this book when I was 7 or 8, maybe 8, and it contained lots of funny anecdotes, like the one of a master who invented chess, and when the king asked him for the payment, he said, okay, 1 grain for the first field, 2 grains for the second one. I don't know, probably many of you know the story. Then at the end, it turns out that the king was, oh come on, you cannot get that small payment. And it turns out that there's not enough grains in the whole world to get this. So the book was full of anecdotes, funny images, and math problems. Like, I remember many of them. One is, for example, a hen and a half lays 1 egg and a half in 1 day and a half. How many eggs do 9 hens lay in 9 days? This was one of the most funny things I remember.
And that was the kind of stuff you were reading under the cover in your bed?
Yes.
Is that how you came to win this, what is it, this Olympiad or this competition thing?
Well, I think that was, this book was actually one of the most influential things from my, well, I don't know if that still counts as a child, or the child is only before you go to school, but this was the book that really raised my interest for mathematics. So after solving the problems, basically many of the problems were meant to be solved with equations, like, for example, mother is 3 times older than the son. In 10 years she will only be 10 years older. How old they are? For example, this was a typical problem. This was meant to be solved with equations. I had no idea what equations were, but I managed to solve all the problems there in one way or another by guessing or somehow else. And this was really an interesting way to raise interest in math. So that basically this was a very highly influential book. This was a very nice, one of the nicest presents I got.
But it didn't work out the same way with tech, is it? Like you see this complex thing and then you magically find out how lactose and other messy things.
Was apparently an ideal gift for you. The best gift somebody could have given you at that time. Maybe in another child it would not have the same effect.
Yeah, they could put it on the shelf and forget about it.
Yeah.
But was it that you got it, or did they already notice that you had some kind of interest in that kind? Now, if you say, oh, let's give Marta a nice book, and I give her a math monster, yeah? She might it's not like...
Well, that's something that you have to ask my parents, I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then we're ready for the evening, I suppose. But is there another meeting here later today still?
There'll be one thing.
Okay.
We will have a movie which was advertised in the mailing you've got, in the last mailing for participants, the book about Linotype, the company.
I could show the 2-minute trailer.
Yeah, we can see the trailer, and then we will have it running here, so after dinner, so those interested are invited to have a look. Do we need loudspeakers for that? I didn't bring loudspeakers. About 8. Let's make it 8 o'clock, right?
Let's see if this works.
That's what we're saying.
The linotype itself revolutionized printing. Called a linotype because it makes one line of type. Instead of the old cumbersome method of setting type by hand, you're instead able to sit at a keyboard, type as fast as you can, and compose type the code. It's one of the most complicated machines I've ever seen, and it's one of the fun things I've ever been around. The linotype machine changed the world. The way that this machine transformed information is probably the most significant change.
This whole thing in this newspaper age, it was a calling. It was something bigger.
It's like a love affair.
I spent 35 years working for the New York Times, and that was my life.
All the knowledge I've acquired over these 26 years is all locked in a little box in our photo computer.
That day has long passed when the linotype was scrapped. They were all scrapped.
If the machines are gone, the junk man, all my endeavors are gone down the tube after I pass away.
My wife is probably going to throw the machines in the hole right after me. The only way you're going to keep me down. It's a fascinating machine, A, and B, it's a complete career dead end. I tell people that once you get ink and type metal in your blood, it never comes out. How does the linotype fit in with new technology? It doesn't.
That was a 2-minute trailer. I think the main movie is 75 minutes, and then there's some bonus material which also includes some scenes about how fonts were designed for the linotype. So
It has Polish subtitles?
no, unfortunately not. It has several languages for choice, but not Polish.
Should be. English could be.
English subtitles.
Yeah, I think English subtitles. Because you turn on the hearing.
Yeah, because some of them.
Yeah. The American. Yeah. English. Yeah. There is.
Yes, you can subtitles.
English or more. To turn on click on the English SDH. Yeah.
No. Okay.
That's his office.
No, yeah, but
this makes
you just click on the English SDH and then you go to main menu. It's completely DVD menus work. They're kind of funny.
DVD menus don't work.
Yeah, DVD menus are.
Does it now?
It's okay. You were ready already.
It will be fine.
Okay, we shall see it tonight. So after dinner, for those who are interested, we'll have to show.
It's a